My friend Lane was in town last month, and we headed off to Kigali Genocide Memorial at Gisozi. This is by far the largest and best known memorial in the city, and the one that most people come to visit. Kwibuka means remember, and then the number of years since the genocide. Afterwards, we had lunch and took a look around the gift shop before heading down the hill to Hotel Mille, the original Hotel Rwanda. There's a small plaque at the back of the car park, but otherwise you would never know. If you head into the lobby and down the stairs, you come out by the poolside bar. It was raining pretty heavily by this point, so we took shelter with a glass of wine until it passed. When the weather eventually lifted, we made our way to Camp Kigali. This is at the very end of the road with Serena Hotel on. There's a little security gate to the left, which you can walk through to get to the memorial. Lane was researching the history of the genocide against the Tutsi, and this was a museum that she was particularly keen to visit. Despite all of my time in Kigali, this was one memorial that I wasn't familiar with, so it was the first time for me as well. At around 8:20 in the evening of the 6th of April 1994, the plane carrying Juvenal Habyarimana, the former president of Rwanda, was shot down, landing in the garden of his own house, which was located near the airport. Along with Habyarimana, the crash also claimed the lives of the Chief of Staff of the Rwandan Army, Deogratis Nsabimana, and Burundian President Cyprien Ntoryamira. Both Rwanda's Defence Minister and Head of Army Intelligence were out of the country attending a conference, and so another colonel, Theoneste Bagosora, took charge of the army. The Prime Minister, Madame Agatha Uwilingiyimana, wanted to appeal for calm on the radio, and General Romeo Dallaire, head of the UN peacekeeping force, arranged for 5 Ghanaian and 10 Belgian peacekeepers to escort her to the radio station. By 7:40 that morning, things had gone terribly awry. The UN escort had come under fire and been ordered to surrender their weapons, and Prime Minister Uwilingiyimana had taken refuge in a neighbouring house along with her husband. Both were soon found and executed. Meanwhile, the Ghanaian and Belgian peacekeepers were forced to surrender and accompany Major Bernard Ntyahaga to Camp Kigali military base. Ntyahaga then began to spread rumours that the Belgian peacekeepers were responsible for President Habyarimana's plane being shot down. 4 of them were beaten and bayoneted to death. The rest of the peacekeepers managed to escape and barricade themselves in the guard hut. The Ghanaian peacekeepers were later allowed to leave, but the Belgians were forced to remain. By 11 a.m, Romeo Dallaire had passed within 30 metres of the site and seen UNAMIR bodies, but he was unable to stop the vehicle. He remained in meetings nearby for over an hour. No attempt was made to rescue the peacekeepers, and by 1 p.m, grenades had been thrown into the guardhouse, killing all of the remaining peacekeepers. It is this guardhouse that remains as a memorial to their lives. Inside the memorial is a lot of information about UNAMIR, the United Nations Assistance Mission for Rwanda, and about the work of Belgian peacekeepers during 1994. It also lists some of the key failings of the mission. In the back room is a tall granite monolith that stands as a memorial to all of the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. Next door is the guardhouse in which the men died. It is still scattered with pockmarks left by grenades and bullets. It's hard to imagine what they must have felt, holding out for those final 4 hours of life. one wall is a blackboard with writing on it in French. I didn't know what this was, and there's no plaque to explain it. Judging by the chilling imagery and the taunting of General Dallaire, I assumed it had been left by the killers. Only later did I read that these are words of grief left by family members of the deceased at the 10th anniversary memorial. The messages have been preserved behind glass. In the grounds outside the guard hut are a set of standing stones. The plaque beside them reads as so. These stones are of Belgian origin. They are not polished, as they represent life as it is. They are larger than men, so that the 10 martyrs will never be forgotten. They are arranged in a circle, a sign of the cohesion of the 10 commandos. They are the shadows of men, forever marked in our memories. They are identical, since death does not differentiate file and rank. They are carved with the ages of each of the 10 commandos. They are broken at the top, representing the brutal end to their lives. The base of every stone is engraved with the initials of each man, so that their families can identify them.